Chief?
Just say, could we move traffic up after citizens' comments so that we're out?
Sure. Good idea.
Okay.
Good evening. I'd like to convene the May meeting of the Board of Police Commissioners. If we can all rise and pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to welcome Al Goldberg, the Selectman, Rob. Thank you very much for joining us. Is there a motion to accept our April minutes?
Motion to accept April meetings as written.
Okay. Any edits, additions, deletions? Hearing none, all those in favor of accepting the minutes as written, say aye.
Aye.
Minutes are accepted, thank you. Public comments. If you'd like to make a statement, and we absolutely welcome, if you could cite your resident, your name, residence, and your subject matter interest, please. Yes.
My name's Ed Pianki. I live at 84 Hunters Trail. I'm here on behalf of myself and also my neighbor who had to work tonight. His name is Trapper Nelson. He lives at 38 Hunters Trail. And I'm told that I'm supposed to be at this meeting if we want anything done with the road systems from a policing or traffic standpoint.
Well,
Wrong meeting, let me know.
no, you're at the right meeting. It's certainly, it's not the only way to express an opinion or a concern or cite an issue, but we certainly would be glad to take it at this meeting.
So I'm speaking about the section of Hunters Trail between Durham Road and Cops Road. It's a cross street that gets you from 79 over to Bauer Farm. In front of Mr. Trapper's house, there has been a couple of near-miss incidences between pedestrians and cars. One had to do with one of my neighbors that was walking her two children in a carriage, and she had to hit the ditch because going around the blind corner on that section of road, you just can't see what's coming from the other direction. I'm a walker, and I purposely wear an iridescent orange jacket just to make me a little bit more visible in the area. Sometimes I've had to jump on the side of the road because the cars come around, they curve pretty fast. That's really what the issue is, speed around that blind curve. There was an incident about a week or so ago where some kids on a skateboard were almost hit by a car. They weren't watching, but neither, I guess, was the car. And then the last thing is actually was an automobile that missed a curve and went through Mr. Nelson's stone fence that's in front of his property. So the request is simple. From both directions, there is a diamond sign that shows that there's a curve. Signs are easy to kind of get used to and miss. I did drive down it today. I've lived on that stretch of town road for almost 50 years, and I didn't know where the speed signs were, so I checked it today. There's one going from west to east, but there didn't seem to be any, I'm sorry, from east to west. There didn't see anything from west to east. So it's, you know, it is especially risky at about 2:30 in the afternoon when the high schools get out. Seems to be the cars go a little bit faster. That's my opinion, because I've been out there. So the request is to take a little bit more of a look at that curve and to see how we can get cars slowed down before we have an accident.
Thank you. One of the things that we do, and then the chief or Tom, if you want to come in, one of the things we do with any traffic issue is to log it and then have some process in terms of review, coordinating with Public Works and with the police department, and sometimes, depending on the road, we've had to get the state of Connecticut involved because it's a state road. And we certainly appreciate both the issues that, say, some of these roads are narrow country roads, and they followed where the cows happen to be wandering, that day. So there are some challenges, that we face in many areas, including, the overall issue of the trend with quieter cars. It just seems to be easier to go faster for all of us. So we will certainly take a look at it, and if you could leave some contact information, we will circle back at the appropriate time when we reviewed it and let you know, what we were, able to do in response to the concerns you raised.
Well, I think there's a problem with speeding on the road, but there's also a problem that pedestrians really don't have a lot of space walking on the road. A lot of that area is just rough. It's what do they call it? It's partly protected, building area, and I mean, 2 feet off the road, you got poison ivy, growing. There's trees within 4 feet of the road, so there isn't a lot of space to be able to walk off the asphalt portion of the road. So I know it's tough to get 100% compliance with people driving their cars, but we've got to get closer than what it is. All right.
Any other comments you want to?
I think we should, seeing we have moving in the direction of a much easier way to investigate these and come to a safety conclusion. I think this might be the first one to start with.
Thank you. Okay.
What is your form?
Chief, in terms of your report, what would you say? Want to move to
If I can move the traffic up, because I have Sam DeBurr here, I have Rob Russo. Rob is the town engineer. He ultimately reports to Sam. Sam also wears many hats, including Public Works and our partner here and a lot of the signage that we do. Rob, of course, looks at the road and makes sure that it conforms, any changes we wish to make or could make. Rob does the investigation and comes back with his consensus. That was part of the original, you gotta remember, in 2010, they came up with the traffic calming. It was almost, that's 15 years ago. The only people that remain that are on that are Tom, just the chairman, Al, and I. Of course, then they didn't have, the roads are a little different, the traffic was a little different, there probably weren't as many electric cars that go fast. So we'd like to streamline that, and that form starts with that. We also have a pamphlet that we're putting together from the police department to make it much easier for folks even to go online to ask for requests of a certain situation. We patrol the roads regularly. There's things we see and sometimes things we don't see that only somebody who walks on the roads or somebody that's at a bus stop sees. So I think that that would be going in the right direction. I've spoken with Rob, I've spoken with Sam, and I met with for 2 separate times with Selectman Bruce Wilson, had the interest in this moving forward. He concurs. So I guess you want to speak to a little bit of the streamlining of the form?
Sure. absolutely. Yeah, so thank you. My name is Rob Russo, town engineer, recently here in Madison. So basically, we were looking at ways to kind of, like the chief said, streamline the way when requests come in, whether it be from residents or internally here with the town, how do we handle these? And basically, this is just, we tried to keep it as simple as possible. This was modeled after, and a lot of different towns, municipalities throughout the country use a similar type of request system. And that's kind of what this was modeled after, just some basic information, what the problem is, what the request is, any additional comments. And I think what's important to note is it within the state right-of-way or town right-of-way. Unfortunately, if it's in the state right-of-way, it's limited to what we can do on the town side of things. We ultimately have to get whatever measures approved through the state. If it's on the town, we could ultimately look at it, perform an investigation, whether it's myself or someone from the department, go out and take a look at these and apply, standard engineering practices to whatever the issue may be. And it allows us to comment and provide a recommendation, and ultimately the local traffic authority and the chief you could either agree or disagree with the recommendation provided, and then said measures could either be implemented or not implemented. But I think it's a good to have some additional transparency and eyes on issues like we just discussed on Hunter's Trail, to have us review and to take a look and have the opportunity to comment. And I think without doing it with all the red tape and have these, this is just a very simple form that either the chief or whoever comes in could fill out, and it just points us in the right direction to what we need to look at, and then I could just write up my general thoughts.
Do you want us to share that?
Sure, absolutely, yeah. I'll bring this up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
From the bottom.
Hey, Rob.
Al, you wanna take a look?
We'll reach out to you.
I got it.
Oh, perfect, we got it. The first one? Rob, thank you.
Yeah.
Rob,
Yes.
I'll do it. I found in most of
Do
the
it.
traffic for the last 15, 16 years.
Yeah.
That's my don't hesitate to call me.
Sure.
Everybody.
Yeah, hold on, thank you.
But thank you, Sam, we appreciate you attending as well. I think we had a recent incident involving a neighborhood, and there was certainly some confusion over how to handle it, who would need to be involved, and I think everyone had the same good intentions, but we didn't act in concert, and as I said, what is not absolutely clear sometimes is very confusing. So I think it was a good lesson for us. I think there have been some positive, productive discussions, Rob, with your office, and I think what we want, both functions, and you've got some very broad responsibilities, as does the chief, among which is the local traffic authority. But what both departments want is to respond to citizens' concerns in an open, transparent, timely way. If our best thinking, joint best thinking, can resolve the problem, that's great. But in any event, they deserve an answer, a logic in terms of why something was done in the way it was done, or why something could not be done. And the last thing is there needs to be a clear accountability. If it comes to this commission to make a judgment that ends up saying no, okay, that was our best thinking at that time with this set of circumstances. goes to your department, and based on, you know, your expertise and professionalism of looking at a particular geography or sight lines or measures, you know, then, you know, we're going to, you know, accept that influence in terms of the decision. So I think we came out of this in the last 60 days or so with a clear and more cooperative sense of moving forward. So, as I said, appreciate, you know, the process we put in place. I think we do not want this to be without any intended criticism, without it being like filing your taxes. It should be a simple, straightforward, this was the issue, this is when it occurred, here's who I'm giving it to, when can I expect an answer? And that's what I think this process, I think we've evolved to where we feel, you know, we've got our arms around where we go from here. So, anyway, thank you very much.
So just briefly to add to that, sir, is that you have to realize that in 2010 versus now, the state is more robust in their personnel. They're not willing at this point to do a study unless we absolutely have to do it in conjunction of a state road. So that expense will be back on the community, which is not cheap to call for this.
But this isn't a state road.
Pardon?
This isn't a state road that I'm talking about.
No, I'm not talking about you. I'm
Sorry.
talking in general, sir.
All right.
So we have to be mindful of that. Outside of that, I have a couple of questions though, before you guys take off.
Sure.
If I may?
Sure.
All right, listen, Route 1 at Cottage. We're not putting we met with Windermere, talked to the folks there. I am gonna need a couple additional signage, and I'll discuss that as for cars coming around the bend there, going back towards Clinton. I talked to Clinton about a speed sign on their side, if they would be open to it. Pardon? On Route 1. Cottage, I think that's, I went down there today, and that road is getting narrower and narrower, so I'm not sure what, plus with more construction there.
So Cottage Road is on the agenda.
Okay. All right, I explained to them, and Al was there, the selectman, Goldberg was there, and I explained to them that, listen, there's a lot of changes coming this way. There's the construction of additional of housing units and mixed use across the street, perhaps a change in the roadway. They're talking about alignment of the road, the intersection. They're talking down the road, this is the engineering during the safety study that they were doing for all things Route 1, that they'd like to see a traffic signal there. You and I both know that doesn't work, they don't work fast, all right? And what our intentions are, never seem to line up with theirs. Example, the Route 79 southbound sidewalk project, and then they want to do what they want to do, but their timeline's not the same as ours. Route 1 at Westworth, how far, because those people
So-
keep calling me.
That's moving forward, it's up at DOT now, getting reviewed, and hopefully, we'll get awarded the grant to put it in, we can put it out to bid shortly, hopefully.
All right.
Fingers crossed.
And I appreciate you looking into Duck Hole, New Road, Horse Pond, and also Gull Rock. On Gull Rock, the woman that was here, there really is not much we can do there, am I correct? This is the woman that wanted, we talked about the stone wall, we talked about the curve in the road, stop sign, a speed bump, it's very difficult. If you're in a smaller car, it's difficult to look over, in your small stature, it's hard to look over where the wall is. If you slow down prior to that, you can see. In the summertime, there's a lot of folks there. So I'd like to just close it out and get back there, bring it to closure. So I'm gonna tell her that we're, best we can do is enforcements occasional. And due caution, there really isn't any place to put signage.
Down at Middle Beach,
Yes,
yeah, no.
And the mirror is not an option?
but, I'm
The
sorry.
mirror is not an option?
Well, that created a lot of stir, that experiment for a week. It may be, I think if we look at it and, for all the homeowners there, that they would love to see something, but they don't want to see a mirror on that structure blocking the view. I think the word they use is you're interfering with our vista.
I mean, it's safety versus aesthetics.
I agree with
know?
you. We talked about
Well, so there's a lot of literature out there why those mirrors aren't used. I had sent the chief an email back, and when was this? This was March 19th. I'll just read what I wrote. As convex mirrors may be appropriate for some low-speed applications, they are not appropriate for use in public roadways. The Madison Engineering Department and Department of Public Works utilizes best practices standards outlined in the Federal Highway Administration's manual, METCD for short. Convex mirrors are not included in METCD as an approved traffic control device. Other issues correlated with the use of convex mirror include poor performance at night, hazardous light reflection, poor performance during bad weather conditions, speed and image distortion of oncoming vehicles, and consistent realignment maintenance due to high winds at a coastal location.
Okay.
So basically, we looked
Not
at
recommended.
every angle of like, could we do this?
Yeah.
And there's just a lot of literature out there nationwide that shows that, you know, it's not a good engineering practice.
Okay, thank you.
So what we have to also do is we have to comply with what you spoke of, the uniform traffic control devices. So once you put a traffic control or a sign or device, we own it liability-wise.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Okay, great, thank you.
the only other one is on Duck Hole, coming up, are we gonna, I know the trees came down, right? The trees are blocking.
Yeah, they came down.
Are we gonna put any more additional signs?
We haven't looked at the signs, but
Yeah.
it was determined that the trees were creating a sightline issue.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, I thank you for coming tonight.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, chief's report.
Okay, we're gonna go to
Budget.
the budget. Thank you, sir. Thanks, guys. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, you have the printout for year-to-date. So the part where I say questions, comments, observations, and I'm going to be sitting down on Monday to, we're going to move some of the lines, Stacy and I, and bring us to a closure of zero come the end of June. Most of that reflects is the overtime for backfilling shifts. We have folks in and out of the academy. We have one officer left, the second officer will be leaving in June, the end of June, to go to another police department. When I sit down with Stacy, the discussion is we asked and we received approximately $50,000 from the town of North Haven, and that was to offset the cost of training the officer that they took from us within the 2-year period. Second officer is going to Southington Police Department, the same. They're going, they didn't have any issues with the department. They actually really like being here. Their concern is I have a family, they have a pension, they have a robust medical, I have to go for my family chief. So I understand that. We have 2 officers in the academy presently, and they're doing great. My understanding is the Chris Russo and Alexander Raccio, right? Yeah, they're what, 4 weeks in now, 5 weeks?
Yeah, yep.
Okay, so, and of course, they'll be ready, they'll be on the road probably by August, post the SRO program. Their rider program, so they beat the certification. We're probably gonna move some of the unencumbered money, 50,000 I spoke of will go into the account. We're probably at this point, with this next payroll, about 140,000 negative for the overtime, but we have that in the unencumbered wage under work, the regular salary wage of the officers. So my guess is we're probably gonna be moving that on Monday, when I sit down with Stacy, and figure out some of the additional expenses we have. I feel we're going to make it pretty close to zero.
Well, at this point, it's showing that through April, we're under budget at this point, so. Right, am I reading this budget?
-1%.
Minus 1%. Yeah. So,
It's approximately, we have approximately 160,000 in one account, we have 72 in the other. I'll know a better figure when that after the last holiday, which is Memorial Day, see who takes pay in lieu of or takes the time. That will affect that, but generally we have used that in the past. I feel it's a much better way to do that. There's a reason why we're there, it has to do with personnel, backfilling the shifts, and I don't think we should be asking for special appropriation where we could live within our budget, bring it to zero come the end of the fiscal year.
Okay. Before we leave finance, I guess you could go into none areas, but am I correct for the 25-26 budget? We have the new position in the town-approved budget as of Tuesday, January 1st, an additional position.
We have an additional position which we have to fill for January of 25.
Right.
We have one vacancy right now. We'll have a third vacancy come the end of June. These are the two officers departing. July 1st, going into that fiscal year, they asked for 6 months. I believe it was put in for January of 26.
Yeah, so we've got one new position coming in January 26th.
That's my understanding,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. Monthly training?
Jeremy?
Yep. So for training for April, Madison Police Department, we conducted 86 hours of training. We did our online training. We did an effective communications course. It's one of the human relation requirements for recertification, so we did that training. And then we just kind of had our basic housekeeping, our Collect NCIC recertification, and then the SWAT training. One thing I wanted to put in, it's not in this, is our FTO training. So we have the 2 recruits that graduate from the New Haven Police Academy. They're doing a phenomenal job. I want to thank our FTO officers for doing all the hard work of the training and everything. But we're getting excellent reports with the 2, and they will be on their own first week of June. So those 2 will help towards the staffing numbers. So they're doing an excellent job. And I want to thank our FTOs for all the hard work they put in to get them fully trained and certified and everything.
And are we counting them as for the
Yep, so
vacancy numbers, or
Yep.
so do we have an additional 2, or are they filling those positions?
So no, they're already filled. So we're
So when
2
we talk
vacant.
about
Yeah, because they're already part of our staffing number because their salary and everything. Yep.
They're part of the authorized strength, obviously, the officer that departed. The approval in January created a position, the officer that departed in March created a position, and one obviously coming our way in June.
Gotcha.
Before you go into, may I add to this, just because the question came up as I read the minutes. You have to remember that come the end of school, I have 2 SROs that will be returning to the road for patrol. I will have the additional bicycle and motorcycles out on the road. And there was a question about a senior academy. We run that fairly regular. We haven't done it in a couple of years, but I think we're due to start again. But we have done since I've been here 5. So
Can I have a quick question? I apologize.
Certainly.
So you mentioned the SROs going back onto patrol. So is there anything or anybody in when they have the extended school year for the schools? There's nobody who's on post during the summer school?
Summer program?
Yeah.
No, but we do regular patrol checks there. We
Okay.
have case stop that. They take ownership of the program, and while they're working, if they're on a shift, they generally stop in. We actually do programs occasionally with the summer programs from the police department.
Chief, what are your expectations for bicycles for this summer? How many? And how do you plan to patrol?
What do we train, up to 6 new
Yes.
officers? We're probably gonna purchase some additional bikes. We talked about this. Of course, with the younger officers, they get excited about electric bikes. I'm gonna stay away from that.
Good.
I don't want any future workman comp cases. But we're gonna probably purchase an additional 2 bikes. We have 4 bikes in inventory, which are fairly in good shape. And I'd like to, ideally, once we get the full staff, so to speak, I'm not gonna have people out on those double days. I'll have more people to put them on a bike downtown, have them stay downtown. We'll do the same thing with the motorcycle, I have them within Route 1 and the corridor of the beaches, when we have the personnel with the opportunity to do that.
One of the things, Captain, is that in the past, we've gotten a lot of positive feedback from residents and businesses downtown on the post road for the bike patrols actually stopping and putting the bike in place, locking it up so no one takes it, but doing it just a walk back and forth and saying hello. So I'm wondering if you can, at the next meeting, perhaps give us a heads up as to what kind of schedule might be if someone's on an 8-hour shift. How often would they be downtown? How often might they be walking? So as the questions come up, we as a commission would just be able to answer them.
Absolutely.
So,
There's someone regularly scheduled, they will be, but it depends on who's sick, who's on
Understood.
vacation, who called out sick that day. So
That happens every day with
that
every.
changes the dynamic.
yeah, so how many officers would be qualified to be a motorcycle?
Three.
officer? Three. So if we decide, you know, again, with a cooperative weather interval that, you know, we're gonna have, it's the summer, the weekends are the busier time. If we choose to, we can have a motorcycle in operation 7 days a week.
Yes, yeah, because our plan is to offset the schedule, so when this officer's on a day off, this officer's scheduled to work, so, you know, that's the nice thing with having the multiple, where
Okay.
people get to enjoy their summer as well and time off, but.
I've just heard the same repeated remarks that Tom just mentioned, that, you know, because they seem to be cruising at a slower speed, and just, the presence seems to ripple out much more than, in some neighborhoods, than a police car driving by, for whatever reason. Maybe because everyone who sees it says, yeah, that's what I would like.
It's amazing positive public relations that comes out of the bicycles or the motorcycle.
Yeah.
I'll bet you could even park one on Gull Rock Road with lights on for 5 minutes every other day.
Very good idea. Okay.
Favor the traffic?
Traffic, so April, the Madison Police Department responded to 16 motor vehicle accidents. Of those, 2 resulted in injuries, 6 accidents involved private property damage, while 7 occurred on private property. One of the incidents was a party that evaded responsibility, where essentially fled the scene. And the leading cause of these motor vehicle accidents is unsafe backing and failure to obey traffic control signal.
Okay. Recruitment?
Recruitment, as I read through your notes, that nothing's changed from what Doug last reported to you, June 4th, the next exam. There was an exam within the regions and also statewide. Statewide had approximately 180 people take exams. It used to be about 18,000. Of those, they had a small percentage that passed. They also ran one for dispatchers. We have the South Central on the 4th. Hopefully, with the recruiting efforts that have been done by this department and other agencies, we've been done very well with this, picking the right people.
So have me put the numbers together with the resignations to North Haven, and I guess, where was the other officer?
Seven.
July 1st through.
So let's assume, and we have the other officers completing their training. So August 1st, how many vacancies will we have?
My memory serves me correct, 3.
It's going to be 3.
3, yep.
So there'll be 3 vacancies,
Yep.
August the 1st, with the understanding, we use the word probable, the understanding there would be a 4th vacancy on January the 1st of 26.
That's correct.
And our only plan still continues to be wait for the test and then identify someone was put into the academy.
And also, we've had very good luck with the Facebook, with our social media.
Social media.
I've been in communication with some lateral officers that sound like they're not prying too much, getting into their person. It sounds like they're at the 2-year cusp, kind of like how our officers, and they, inquiring about the Madison Police Department. So I've been in communication with them as well. So we're hoping between, the social media, the South Central will be able to, New Haven will be starting their academy after the 4th of July holiday. So our goal is to get as many of those recruits as we can to get that July class going.
And to add to that, sir, you have to remember that right now there's a lot of exams going on in college campuses. It's very difficult for us to still maneuver and represent our college campuses. So we've done that up to including probably the spring.
Okay, I gotta tell you, it just sounds like we've accepted the fact that we're gonna run 4 vacancies for the foreseeable future, and with a lot of hope.
And over.
Well, we're recruiting right now, looking at potentials for the January spot, for Dos Santos spot. We'll have another one in June. We may be able to fill them prior to August. That means we'll.
Oh, no, absolutely, but,
Yeah.
okay.
I have to tell you that the issue, I gave you a copy of North Haven's contract, and with the ad they put in, it's very difficult to compete against those other agencies, other than what quality of life.
Okay. Well, we talked about incentive plans, and for whatever reason, we've concluded we don't do that. For what reason, I still don't know. Other than we've never done it. So therefore, it'll never work. Well, have you tried it? No, but we're not gonna do it. I mean, I'm wrong.
We brought this up during budget discussions, and we were told, no, that wasn't a good idea. Not from this board.
No, excuse me. So that if you made the case, give me $40,000 as incentives, and I'll show you how we save $100,000 in overtime. We've got elected officials who are gonna say, no, what we'd rather do is spend $100,000 in overtime. Not sure I could process that, but look, we've raised it here. Clearly that dog doesn't hunt.
Al, would you like to comment?
No, I don't think it needs a comment.
Okay. I mean, it just, money's fungible, Put down $1 and you pick up 2. No, I don't want to put down $1 down. So, anyway. Okay.
Let's see, where did we go here?
Community calendar.
Well, I'll jump in there. We had the toucher truck on the 27th, is very successful. Mother's Day, we're going to have a run come up for, it's a new addition to our schedule. It's the Connecticut Wave Runners. They don't have a lot of runners. It is difficult getting staff to cover that. We're going to do our best, and we'll see how it works out this year. We may not approve it for next year. We have Night in Hand race, which is on the 17th. That's also a new one, fundraiser for the Night in Hand. That's sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce. We're doing our best again to make that work. 4th of July parade, July is this 4th. That's on there. You have the fireworks are scheduled for the 2nd. The concert, the fireworks, I believe the rain date is the 11th for them. So these are things we're looking at down the road for events in the town of Madison. Memorial Day parade will be very limited this year.
Why? Just in terms of volunteer donations?
The generation that generally marches in that parade is getting very much older. So they're gonna keep confined into the park.
I think if you look at the numbers, that there were actually more veterans that showed up when we shortened, when the event was shortened, rather than make it all the way down to the previous destinations, for the simple reason that, you know, those folks who were doing service for this country and wanted to participate can't make it all the way. And we don't have enough young veterans in town yet who want to, if anybody's listening, you had a uniform on at any point in time in your life, please come out. If you just want to stand still, we'll say thank you, standing still.
Okay, good. Thank you. Okay. Regional shared services?
Okay, currently, I spoke with the chief today from Clinton. Most of the improvements and repairs have been made to the regional animal control shelter. We are adding an additional fence at their request. Second to that is the range. There's going to be a portable classroom put at the range for the towns of Madison and Clinton. As you remember, Westbrook opted out of, so they're not contributing anymore either. So there's never really, we're able to do it and stay within our budget, which at this point is approximately $8,000 annually, and we share that cost with the town of Clinton. I did ask, after our discussion, Mr. Chairman, I asked the chief and his deputy or captain a discussion of regionalizing some of the police services we're doing between the towns, and they were open to that discussion.
Okay.
So I think we could have another meeting and see where we go from there.
That's encouraging. Okay, correspondence, I didn't see anything. We talked about traffic. New business beyond current issues. I think we did include the sign approval process. So this form is from Public Works, and then we have the guide here, and just the request that comes in, can it go to either department, either Department of Public Works, or if somebody comes in like the...
It comes to us.
Yeah.
Starts with my office as the LTA certified and then the board.
Okay. Well, I think we have had a much clearer understanding, and I think your discussions with those individuals, including with Bruce Wilson, you know, has helpful. I think everyone's on the same page at this point. So.
We started with good intentions in 2010, eventually just got dumped on our lap by the end.
Okay. Okay. I guess we're, Commissioner comments?
None here.
Michael?
No, thank you.
No comment.
Nope. I think, I'll just reiterate that, won't try to be too redundant. I think it was a good discussion, and we're glad to have Public Works here, representatives. I had a sidebar discussion with Rob Russo and let him know that if different issues come up, you know, we'd like to invite him to attend, so there's absolute, you know, clarity and input in terms of the status of things. And he was very receptive to doing it, so I think it was a helpful discussion with that.
We work very well together.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of work going on with the state of Connecticut, a lot of change to the intersections, lighting, line markings, and he's been wonderful because he walks with me, and we're doing it tomorrow for the Cox Road project for Connecticut Water Company. So we're there when they first come out. It's a much better organization and discussion and the sharing of information. So he's a great partner.
Okay. We are scheduled to go into executive session to talk about the labor contract negotiations that have begun, and we're pleased to have Gabe Duran, who's the lead counsel representing the town, and also Deb Ferrante, the HR director, who's a key figure in the negotiating process, to join us in the executive session as well. Captain, I know you're on the negotiating team, and I'd like to invite you to attend.
Okay.
And also Al as well. So, is there a motion to go into executive session?
Make a motion at 18:15 to adjourn our meeting into executive session.
Second.
So moved.
Yeah.
Executive session. Thank you.